Hi everybody, it's Cynthia, and I am back with a what sold in, we'll call it the last few weeks video. Obviously, I haven't been very good about doing these on a regular basis, but I hope that they're fun for you and you learn something because that's kind of the point of these is to help you find some great deals for your own eBay store. We're going to start off with, I have a lot of, let me start by saying I have a lot of vintage pieces, what I would call true vintage pieces that have been selling in the last few weeks. And I think that's because I've been hitting a lot more estate sales, which is where a lot of these are coming from. It's a lot easier for me anyway to find true vintage pieces at an estate sale versus at the regular thrift stores. Sometimes I think because things that are really old, they don't even think they have value and they might be throwing them away. But so I found some really fun things. Starting with these right here. Now, from the picture, it may be difficult to tell what these are, but if you are from the 60s or 70s, you will remember these little Dell purse books. So these books are, they're little booklets. They're probably about the size of your hand. And they were, they had them on everything, hairstyles and makeup and how to get a date and how to cook fish and everything. And I found about a half dozen of them at an estate sale that had lots of books, but these really caught my eye. I thought they were kind of fun, and I actually just sort of grabbed them because I thought they were cool and came back and found that they had some real value. Now, when you look at this, you're going to go, oh, they sold for $10. That's not value, but it is because first of all, there are two books that probably together cost me pennies, 10 cents even, let's call it. And they actually were bought by somebody in the UK who paid quite a bit to ship them. So when we do ship internationally, we make a little extra money because when we ship locally, we pay for the free shipping, so it comes out of the total, whereas they pay shipping on top when it's going outside of the US. So these were really fun books, particularly I love the Star Hairdos one because it had great pictures. Sorry, they upgraded the Entertainment Explorer, and it makes me a little crazy how quickly it jumps when you touch things. Um, so it has like images, and I also swear to you, these images were not sideways when I first made this listing. It's bizarre. So here's like how you can look like Anne Margaret with old school setting techniques. So I think, excuse me, lady, as always, I think these are really good for people, vintage girls who like to do vintage hairstyles and things. So they're popular. Anyway, so I did find of all the little books, a lot of the little books have value, but especially the beauty ones do. So you'll find them cheap. Pick them up. Easy 10 bucks. Excuse me, taking a sip of water. This falls under one of these. I thought it would be worth a lot more than it was. This is a Sleeping Beauty peasant dress. So this is when Mattel put out a line of doll clothes that you could use to turn your Barbie into a Disney princess. Some of them came with a mask, like, oh, the villain costumes came with a mask. I also have a villain costume. It has not sold. I picked this up at Goodwill and I did pay up for it because they thought it was a collectible, which I thought it was a collectible. Seemed like it would be kind of a rare item. I had it up in the $24 range. The board is bent a little, but again, because of the way it's packaged, I can't throw this into a padded envelope. It really needed to go into a box, so the shipping was a little higher. And in the end, we ended up taking an offer and we sold it for about 13 bucks. But shipping came out of that. So I actually probably didn't make any profit at all on this, which is, like I said, very surprising because you're going to see later, I usually do really well with doll clothes, but for whatever reason, not this one. This was a surprise hit this week that uh, turned out to be one of those I probably made a bad choice, not in buying these, but in selling these, and I'll explain why in a moment. So I'm going to butcher the name, but I would say these are called Slice, maybe? Elf, World of Elves series of action figures. They're they're really high quality. It is difficult to see in these pictures. They're very detailed. The paint jobs are lovely. There's a lot of going on these. And I found these horses and the elves separately in a huge box of just plastic animal toys at the thrift store. And as I started sorting through, I realized that these fairies, because the way they were sitting, were designed to sit on horses. And I also found some knights that are very similar from the same brand. So these, it turned out, actually had quite a bit of value, but the one fairy, this one, see how her hand is sort of outstretched? Well, and there's like a little post there, it's hard to tell. She was supposed to have a little baby dragon sitting on her hand. And if I'd had the dragon, I could have gotten more money for them because it's a tiny piece. It gets lost a lot. I put them up at $24. They were selling in the neighborhood of about 12 to 15 a piece. So $24.99 for the two together, especially with free shipping, was a good deal. But within 24 hours, somebody came in and offers us 18. And I don't know, we were in a mood where we were like, I don't know, probably hadn't had a sale in a while. We were like, let's just take it. Um, And I probably shouldn't have, because the very next day I went back to the same thrift store, and I'll be darned, I found the dragon that went on her hand. So I could have definitely sold them for more money once I had that dragon on there and held out. But I don't know. It was, for whatever reason, we took the offer, made money on them, but definitely could have done more. So look for this brand. They make a whole line of like fairies and elves and medieval knights. The fairies and elves sell better. This is a really funny story. This is a t-shirt from Jim Dunn Racing, Moon Equipped. And what this is, Moon Equipped, as I understand it, is some type of equipment that Jim Dunn Racing sells to put on cars. It's a very popular brand with car fanatics, hot rod guys. And what's really funny is a long time ago, I had a Moon Equipped shirt and I got it because it reminded me of Gibney and Cloyd, the Moon Men from the Captain Crunch commercials. And if you remember that, Quisp and Quake and all that. No, Gibney and Cloyd was from Bullwinkle and Rocky. It's all Jay Ward, so I get it mixed up. So I bought it for that reason, and then way back, and it sold right away for really good money. And so I was out thrifting in an area I don't go to that often, and I was in a restaurant and saw a guy wearing a long sleeve Moon Equipped shirt. And I thought, oh, that's really funny. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. I went to the thrift store and there it was. So weird. Talk about synchronicity. So I grabbed it up and it sold for $26 within days of putting it up. So keep your eye out for that one. Hot rod shirts in general we do pretty good with, but I especially like manufacturers that make things for the hot rod guys. So yeah, Moon Equipped. This is on my list of weirdest thing to sell, certainly in the last few weeks. This came from my absolute favorite thrift store that I hardly ever get to go to, but I was out and about and saw this on their Christmas rack. It was a Keith Richards Merry Christmas long sleeve shirt. I don't know why, but I thought I cannot buy that. So I got it. I put it up. It sold again within just days of my putting it up. So if you see a Keith Richards Christmas shirt, buy it. It's a good flip. This one, okay, if you have any objections, save them. Because, um, I bought this because I knew it would sell, and it did, again, very quickly. But this was part of a nightmare that's turning out to be a little bit okay, but almost a month ago, I bid on an auction, and it's one of those, not like eBay, it's one of those sites where they're live auctions somewhere in the United States, but you can also bid online. And so they're kind of tough to win at because a lot of people are there. They don't have to pay shipping, so they're more willing to buy. They can bid higher to get things. And the pricing is always a little tricky because since you're not there, you can't see exactly what you're getting. But the biggest problem is you don't know how much it's going to cost to ship it to you. Because if you can't see it really well, you don't know what the weight is. I know you're going, it's a little tiny doll clothes. It doesn't weigh anything. But this actually was in a, um, if you know those plastic zipper bags that like comforters come in, the, the only picture for the auction was one of those bags with this stuffed in it on the side so you could see it, and then lots of fabric. And the listing said vintage doll clothes. So I thought, if that is a whole big bag of vintage doll clothes, I can sell that. Plus, I looked the Hoodoo Girls up and saw that it sells in the $20 range every time. So I'm like, perfect. I bid, I got the whole entire thing for like $3. And then I won another lot of doll clothes for like $2. And then I won a doll for like $2. So I paid like $11 total with there's a little bit of fees and things. I was so excited. Then they tell me it's going to cost $25 to ship it all to you. And I'm thinking, really? It's like a bunch of fabric. $25? That's crazy. But I'm like, all right, whatever. It's still, I'll make the 25 alone on the Hooter Girls thing. No problem. Package arrives. Half of it's missing. I feel like, as I'm telling the story now, I feel like I've told the story to you guys before. But sorry if I have to fast forward. So they get back on the phone with me and say, oh my gosh, we only sent one of the lots you won. We forgot to send the other two. And it will be another $50 to send the rest. I almost fell off my chair. Like, the items aren't even worth that much. I would just tell you to just throw them away and I'll just lose the money I spent on the auction. I mean, it was ridiculous. We went around and around and we came to an agreement. But in the end, my cheap $11 auction win turned into a $60 investment, which I was not happy with. But part of that, I did get a Humphrey Bogart doll out of it that my husband likes. We collect movie memorabilia stuff, obviously, so that stayed in the house. And then the package arrived. It gets worse. The box, the big bag that had the Hooters girl in it, I start to pull the stuff out. Number one, it smelled to high heaven. It was all this musty, musty clothes, probably because they'd been sealed in a plastic bag for, 30 years. And only less than a quarter of it was actually doll clothes. The rest was material fabric that the woman had been using to create doll clothes. And I tried to salvage some of it. I was going to some laces and things, but in the end, I had to throw away over half of probably what I got. So I thought, I'm never going to make the money back on this. This was a huge mistake. But you'll see. So, Hoodoo Girl sold. Um, and I didn't show them here. Before this, two of the doll outfits sold for $24 each. Treasure Heart Bear clothes. Those sold $25 each. So that was 50, minus shipping fees. Then this sold. Well, there you go. That's my money back right there. But I thought, I still have all these musty vintage clothes. So there was also two American Girl doll clothes in there, which I thought that would make my money back on those. Well, here, let me jump ahead to, there it is. So this lot I put up, so this was a lot of smaller doll clothes. They were, like I said, the condition on them wasn't that great, but there was some nice vintage finds in them. That yellow blouse you see right there, I recognize that from a doll that I think I had when I was a kid. So I know they are old. I could tell a lot of these are old too because they have snaps, whereas modern doll clothes have a lot of Velcro. Excuse me. These were for a bigger baby doll, but that little red dress there and that little pink dress, again, I'm pretty sure were true vintage doll dresses. I put them on auction because I saw some doll clothes, old doll clothes, going up in the several $100 range. That wasn't the case. They sold for the first bid of $10, but she paid plenty of shipping. Again, I had no idea that doll clothes could be so heavy, but they are. Um, so that was another $10, but at least they didn't go to waste. They went to somebody who wanted them, and I hope that there's something in there that she's, can really do something with and is excited about. And then after this one sold, I also sold a lot of just nothing but doll crinolines and slips. Those were definitely vintage, and those also went in the $10 range plus shipping on top. So I've made my money back, and I'm into profit, but it's definitely not going to be the kind of profit I thought it was going to be or hoping it was going to be because of the $50 shipping. So that's my buyer beware story. Let's talk a little bit about scrub tops. This is a really cute Winnie the Pooh and Friends holiday scrub top. I put it up for $12.99. It did not sell for $12.99. I think it sold for about $8. I um, picked these up at my favorite thrift store. They had them marked at $1.99, no, $1.91 minus 20%. So I got a really great deal on them, which is why I grabbed it. But the moral of that story is to be careful about scrub tops. They're really cute. They used to sell really, really well, but they just kind of don't anymore. But I can't resist when they're a cute pop culture pattern like these, because if you can't sell Disney Christmas scrub top for more than $10, like, there's nothing, there isn't one that's going to sell. Um, I feel like I'm getting incoherent, aren't I? I wanted to show you this one because it was just kind of a weird find on mine. This was House of a Thousand Zombies. It says it on the back. House of a Thousand Corpses, sorry. This is a really popular hoodie, if you spot this anywhere. Um, this was a very small one, and I still got $37 for it, and it had some condition flaws. So it'll go up. You can get 50 to 60 for it if you can find it in good condition in a bigger size. Apparently it came from Japan. Hard to find, but keep it in mind. A couple more quick. Um, this was an example of something that went bad too that ended up turning out okay. I bought at our local church store a huge box of mix of Playmobil and Imaginext toys. It took me quite a while to sort them out, but I really liked doing it, so I don't mind. And when I did sort them out, I found out that this Viking Fortress was almost complete. If you have a lot of pieces like this, look around online. There's a couple of websites that show everything, that show detailed pictures of everything that should be in a set and how a set goes together. You can download the manuals from Playmobil um, so that you can rebuild and make sure you have all the pieces you're supposed to have. So this was kind of cool. It was almost all there, and I put it up at 40 plus 15 shipping. It's plastic, it's heavy by the time you put it all together. Somebody bought it. They got a deal. I think they offered us like 24 or 25. We took it, and then it sat. They never paid. And I was kind of mad. I was like, gosh, I gave them a deal. I really wanted to get it out of the house because it was really bulky. They didn't pay. So it ended up going back up, and a couple days later, it sold for our full asking price of 40 plus 15. I always pick up Playmobil if it's a reasonable price. Sometimes people overprice it because they think it's worth a lot. If you can spend the time putting sets together, you can do real well with it. This is an example of you never know what'll sell. This is a little in a merry mood cocktail. It was a calendar from a liquor store in Brooklyn, probably back in the 60s or 70s, probably 70s. So it had a calendar in there at one time, and then so it was like a Christmas card they sent out to local liquor stores, or the liquor store, I guess, sent out to customers. Um, and a store in Brooklyn, New York, bought it for $20. It's just a weird little piece of trivia. It's got like cocktail drink recipes on the back. Um, I just thought it was fun, and I got it in a whole big box of paper. So again, I paid probably next to nothing for it, and it's sold. Last two things. This is another example of timing. I had these two Christmas trolls up since well before Christmas, probably in May or June. Granted, one of them is naked, but the other one is dressed properly. I had them up at every possible price. I had them on auction. I had them everything. Could not sell these trolls, which is weird because trolls usually sell really well for me. Couldn't get rid of them. Finally just took them down, left them down for, I don't know, a couple weeks. and then put them back up last week or so. My original asking price, $14, and they sold within hours. So if you know you got something, don't give up on it. Just maybe it needs a rest. Take it down for a little bit, and then do a sell similar. Don't relist. Sell similar so it comes in with another name. Finally, I'm going to leave you with my favorite pop culture find of the week: a small fry couch potato. If you guys remember in the 80's, Coleco, which is a very big company, are they even still around anymore? They were a huge toy company. They made a set of, um, they're kind of made out of like a nylon, like as in like stocking material, and they were just stuffed and soft. What do they call them? Soft sculpt. That's what they call them. And they made a whole family of potatoes that were designed to sit on the couch. So they each came with their own little chairs, and they were couch potatoes. And they sat and they watched TV. And this was a baby, a small fry, and it came in with its little sack diaper. Um, I did not have the box for it. If you have the box, it sells a little even better, but we still did really well with it. $24.99 with free shipping, light as could be, went first class. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. Hopefully there's something there that will help you make some pop culture profits in your store.